So when I share this with you, then you'll have to give me your email address that you use for YouTube. We can talk about that later. And then I'll share it with that email address, and then that's what. Okay. Anyway, so the next question I ask at the beginning of these things is, can you give me some background of how much you already know, or what you think about it a bit coming in, and if you think you might know what your type is already, but don't tell me what that type is. That's it. That's the question.
Okay, well, I first got into Myers-Briggs in high school psychology. Actually, we took a test, and I don't think that the test necessarily typed me right, but it got me interested in thinking about personality types, and I've been kind of interested off and on ever since. I do have my type narrowed down to a few possibilities, but I'm not entirely sure. And I've read some about the cognitive functions, and I know that it seems like different people describe the cognitive functions differently. And I was kind of just stumbled upon your channel, and I was interested in your approach, and I just kind of want to see what I end up as.
Okay. Are you responsible for the decoration behind you on the wall? Like choosing those things?
Am I responsible for it?
Yeah, like did somebody else choose that, or is that your decision?
I chose
Okay.
it.
So, if you were to turn the camera to either side of you, would it be a complete mess, or is that kind of consistent with your house? Like it's tidy.
It's pretty neat.
Okay, cool. So let's go back in time to around the holidays, around Christmas time. Do you remember an instance around Christmas time when you shared a particularly warm Christmas moment with somebody?
When I shared a particularly warm Christmas moment with somebody. Well, I guess last Christmas we had. I went to my parents' house, and then my sister came, and her husband and her two children, and it was just nice having us all together in one place and enjoying each other's company and exchanging gifts.
Okay, I mean, when you think about that, can you recall, for example, a conversation that occurred like, well, after dinner, she and I were talking about the new cheese factory in town. Do you have that level of detail of recall?
Um, no. um,
Okay, how about for last week?
yeah,
How about for last week? So, can you think of something you did last week? Let me see if I can think of something I did last week to give you an example. Well, last week, let's see. What did I do last week? um, yeah, I don't know what. Let me think. Okay, last week I began digging the hole for the first pond that I'm putting out back. Okay, and I can recall that um, it was middle of the day. My mom was with me. It was kind of sunny. I was hot. I was dripping sweat. It would turn out to be harder work. I mean, I knew it was gonna be hard work. It was fairly hard work. I can remember me digging shovels of dirt. So, do you have an equivalent memory from a week ago?
yeah, I think from a week ago, it's a lot easier. And um, about a week ago, I went to a baseball game with a friend, and then we were just talking about. I won like a pair of tickets because I volunteered for some event, and I didn't know I was going to get tickets at the time. So so I was just kind of talking about where to meet, and how to find the seating, and should we eat before we go there, or should we eat there?
All right, cool. So, based on I don't know how many videos you watch or what you've heard or whatever, but what do you think I'm doing with those questions? Are you aware from recent videos where I'm going with those?
Um, yeah, I mean, I've watched a few of your videos. I haven't watched all of them, but
Nobody
I
has,
mean,
not even me.
I believe you're. I mean, they're testing for type, and I mean,
More specifically, I'm
so
testing.
there's gonna be
More specifically, I'm testing for SI or NI. Okay. So introverted
okay.
sensing is a function that allows you to provide detailed examples from the past as to explain or show an idea. I might say
Um,
an ISFJ is like this. For example, the other day Kimberly did blah 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 blah. That's an SI style of communication. In other words, the idea is presented first, but really the experience comes first, and one generates the idea as a rough rule based on the experience. So if you're an SI user and you go to a birthday party one time when you're 8 years old, it's the first birthday party you've ever been to at 8 years old for some reason, and you have a bad time, an SI person will assume birthday parties are no fun, whereas an NI person will conclude that whatever made them have a bad time at that party is makes them feel bad or whatever. But so SI, NI, the test here is suggesting to me pretty strongly that you're an SI front stack. That could be 1, 2, 3, 4. I do plenty of those stories. You could also be fifth slot SI and still be able to do that. Um, I think you're definitely not 6, 7, 8. I would say because 6, 7, 8 slot would have more. You did it. You did it sort of half-assedly with the Christmas thing. At least you anchored it in a location. I went to my parents' house. That's something that even a polar SI person might not do. So let's pursue further a little bit of your knowledge approach and interface approach. So when you're about to go to a party, somebody says to you, Laura, you need to get off the couch right now. We are going to this raging party. Come on, let's go. How much what questions do you want to know the answer to before you say, all right, let's go?
Well, it'd be like, why are you why are you being so bossy? Why are you being so insistent that we're going to the party? Why right now? Why should I go?
So the first thing you noted though was that the thing that was expressed to you was bossy, right?
Yeah, it seems like we're going to this party. Well, what if I don't want to go to the party? I mean, why are you
Okay.
insisting I go? I mean, that's kind of
All right.
the
So
very first impression I have. I mean, yeah, later on I might be convinced that I want to go. It's fun, but don't talk to me on that tone.
uh-huh. Now what if the person comes back to you and says, Laura, all I said was, we're going to this party. You should come. Get off your butt and come. I was being playful. Come on, Laura. I just want you to come to the party with us.
Um,
I didn't mean it like that. What if the person says that?
well, if the person says that instead,
No, it's a follow up.
well,
They're like, they read you and they go, whoa, whoa, Laura, I didn't mean it like that. I wasn't trying to boss you around. I was just being playful. I was saying, come, please, come to the party with us. We're going to have fun.
well, then I'm gonna be a little more receptive to it. I might still think they're kind of being a little overly pushy on their agenda, but at least I try to understand.
Okay. So let's say that somebody crosses some boundaries of yours in that capacity, that they've made a mistake. They've done something that's insulted you or you feel has wronged you in some way. Now, what's necessary for them to get back in your good graces? Is it sufficient for them to acknowledge that and apologize? Or is there something else that needs to be done for you to revert back to how you were with them prior to that instance?
Um, could you can you kind of repeat that again, please?
Okay, so somebody in your life has done something to you or said something to you that makes you feel legitimately angry at them or like they've wronged you in some way, okay? It doesn't have to be a big thing. It could just be, they told somebody something you didn't want them to say, or it could be they were insensitive towards your feelings in a group outing or something. Now, for them to get back in your good graces fully, what's required for them to do? Is it enough for them to simply sincerely apologize and indicate they won't do that again or will try not to, or is more than that required?
Um, I think usually, I mean, apologizing sincerely is good enough, and it's very important that it's sincere. Like they're not just going through the motions of apologizing, but they actually mean it. I mean, it would depend on how bad of a thing they did. I mean, I guess in some situations, they would have to do more than apologize. They'd have
What
to
about for
prove themselves over time um, that they were not going to do it again. So I would regain their trust. I mean, yeah, I might.
how about forgot to pick you up from the airport? How
What?
about forgot to pick you up from the airport?
Forgot to pick me up from the
Had
airport.
agreed to pick you up, but then just didn't show up. Didn't respond to text.
Well, I mean, I'd be a little bit upset, but I mean, it would depend on like why they didn't pick me up. Did they just
Oh, Laura,
like
bro.
legitimately forget? Did they have a good excuse?
Laura, dude, I just spaced. I'm sorry. I was smoking bowls. I was watching the basketball game. I just totally spaced out on it. My phone was in the bathroom. I didn't hear it. And so, sorry, dude. I really, really, it's like, if I had remembered, I would have gone and gotten you. That's their answer.
That's okay. That's their answer. Well, I mean, I guess I would. I mean, I would be upset, but I mean, I would, I I mean, I would forgive them, but it would also be like I'd want to make sure that they didn't do it again.
You wouldn't count on them to get you from the airport.
Because then, and I would kind of lose my trust. I would maybe go to somebody else, next time it happened. I'm not sure if I could trust this person. I'd have to. I don't know. They'd have to regain the trust, I guess.
Which values do you think are more important to you? Honesty or social or kindness, like social givingness?
Oh, this is always tough. Yeah, I would probably the second one.
Okay. Let's say you were going to vote for a politician and you saw them as good hearted, like having fundamentally good intentions, but very willing to shade the rules and do kind of shady stuff to get their outcomes accomplished. Would that be okay with you or not okay with you?
That would not be okay.
All right. What if you saw them as rigorously principled, but not caring about people very much, just looking at it from a very mechanical standpoint, and well, this is what's best for the numbers?
That wouldn't be okay either.
Okay, so what would you look for in a politician in terms of those respective values? Some mix of the two?
Yeah, they'd have to. I mean, they'd have to both be. I mean, they both have to be honest, and they'd have to care, and they'd have to care about the people. It wouldn't.
Okay. Tell me.
And they'd have to make promises that they could actually keep. Because there's a lot of politicians that say they're gonna do this for the people, and then they never do it. So.
Okay, let me. So following through on what you say you're going to do is basic validating thing there for you. Following through on what you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me shift gears. I'm going to ask you a genealogy question in which I am going to say family relations. You're going to tell me what relationship the person I end on is to me. So, a simple example is my mother's sister is my.
Aunt.
Okay. My mother's sister's daughter's father is my.
Mother's sister's father.
Daughter's father.
Mother's sister's daughter's uncle.
Okay. My paternal grandfather's only grandsons, only grandmother, my paternal grandfather's only grandsons, father's mother is what?
Okay, I'm gonna need that.
My paternal grandfather's.
I'm sure I can figure it out. It just kind of.
This is the last one of these. This is the last one of these. Okay, just think about it. Don't write anything down. Just think about it. My paternal grandfather's only grandsons, father's mother.
Would that be great grandma?
No, it's grandma.
Oh, okay. Well.
Okay, fine.
I got the gender right.
Now I'm going to ask you some extroverted intuition questions and see where you go on those.
Okay.
So, can you please give me 5 ways that you could suggest to me to indicate to some girl that I like her without telling her in words?
You could hug her, be physically affectionate. You could give her a gift, something that she really wanted. You could do some, help her with something important that she needs help with. You could listen to her with sympathy on a concern she's having. You could just spend a lot of time with her doing the things that she enjoys.
Okay, cool. So what you've done is you've passed all my polar tests, or you've failed all my polar tests. Is another way of saying it. You're not polar SI. You're not polar T.
I don't have a polar.
Everyone has a polar. Everyone has a polar.
What?
Everybody has a polar. You're not polar SI, you're not polar TI, and you're not polar NI. So what that means is that it eliminates ENFP, it eliminates ESFP, it eliminates ENTJ, it eliminates ENFJ, and it eliminates ISTP and ISFP. So we've got six types eliminated. Now, I'm leaning currently Alpha Quadra with you, which means I'm thinking probably an SFJ of some kind. But let's look a little further into eliminating some of the other quadras. So, how do you feel about social hierarchy? So, for example, if one person gets their way because they're the most important person, do you think that's reasonable because of the circumstances and the fact that person earned that additional status? Or do you think it's offensive in some regard because everyone should be treated the same?
The second one, I think it's offensive. I don't like the idea of hierarchies. It would be nice, like if we were just all in an equal position. We just all had equal say about things. We all had the same level of importance and significance.
Okay. If is your house? Do you generally clean up before guests come over?
don't really need to do much cleaning up because my house is pretty clean already, and I rarely have guests over anyway. I'm usually going because I just live in a small apartment. So usually I end up going somewhere else anyway. Like for family gatherings, I usually go to my parents' house or my sister's. So,
Okay.
but I mean, I would make sure it's clean and sanitary. Yet, does it have to be absolutely spotless? No. I mean, there could be like a pile of papers on the desk would be okay, but it'd have to be sanitary. Like
Do you rearrange stuff very often?
rearrange stuff.
Like decide, you know what, I'm not going to put those things here anymore. I'm going to move those over to here. I'm going to move this piece of furniture over here. I'm going to put these things on top of this instead. Do you rearrange things like that fairly often?
Not frequently. Generally, once I know where it goes, I'm fairly satisfied with it, unless there's a good reason to move it. I need more. I need more space, or I need to arrange the space differently to fit something else in. Then I'll shift it. But
How attached to your
I don't rearrange my furniture that much. I mean,
how attached are you to your objects?
how what?
Attached are you to your objects? Like, do you find yourself accumulating stuff, or do you find it easy to get rid of stuff?
I'm not attached to most things. I find it pretty easy to get rid of most things.
Okay.
I mean, there's a few things I have, I have that have some sentimental value, but I'm not a pack rat. I don't like having I don't like having a lot of clutter that gets in the way.
Okay. When you wake up in the morning, are you somebody who thinks about the day ahead and the various things you need to do and check off on your list or whatever, and generally doesn't think too far beyond that? Like, you're not really thinking much about tomorrow or the next day. You're mostly just focusing on what you have in front of you for the duration of a day. Or are you somebody who tends to think more long term in terms of, okay, well, this is what I got today. Maybe I'll just write that down, not think about that anymore. I'm worried about how what I'm doing today is going to link in with something in the future. Are you more focused on the day or linking of the day?
I think it's both.
Okay. What are your expectations for the future? Do you have plans for how you'd like to see the now evolve into the future? Or is it just you want to keep it the same, or what?
The now evolved into the future. Well, I would like to get a better job. I mean, I like the job that I have now, but it's part time, so I like it to move to a full time job. I'd eventually like to travel more places, see more of the world. I'd like to become fluent in Spanish. I'm learning it, and I can read Spanish pretty well, but I'm by no means fluent in, like, when I speak it or listen to it, and I want to change that. And
Okay. Um, hmm. So let's say you come home from work. You've had a hard day, something really difficult and unpleasant, and make you feel bad having to work. How do you deal with that reality when you get home?
I've had a really hard day at work. I just kind of just want to kick back and relax, and not have to think about it anymore till the next day. It's kind of like I'm just done for the day.
What counts as relaxing for you? Watching TV?
Um, usually usually I just check Facebook, maybe watch YouTube videos. I don't watch a whole lot of TV, but I do like to watch videos on YouTube. Maybe go outside and take a walk and just kind of release the pent up energy that I'm having. Sometimes I like to talk to people to vent it out. If it's not a problem I can solve on my own, say, this is really stressing me out. This person at work, what do you suggest?
Okay. So let's say I were to hire you to build me a boat. I'm paying you $1 million salary, and I'm hiring you to build me a boat. What's Here's your first paycheck, and here's the budget money for materials and stuff. Walk me through the process of building me a boat. What are your first things you do?
Well, I would first want to know when when the deadline is. Is there a timeline? Is there a timeline for this? What kind of boat am I building? Because there's hundreds of thousands of types of boats, so I kind of need to know what kind of boat I'm building. Is it like a sailboat, cruise ship, I don't know, paddle boat? I mean,
It's a catamaran. It's a catamaran. I want you to build me a catamaran.
A catamaran. Well, I don't know what a catamaran is, so I suppose I'd have to do some research and Google it and find out what a catamaran is and how it works and
Okay.
how to build it.
If you have something broken around the house, let's say a door hinge. A door's come. The hinge is it's come off of its hinge. One of its hinges.
Okay.
What's your walk me through your thought process?
I panic. I mean, that's kind of the first thing I do. I don't like it when things don't work correctly. I guess I try to fix it if I can, and if I can't, I'm finding somebody that can fix it, because I don't like it when things are broken.
All right. Let's imagine I were to say to you, I want to hire you to do a job for me, but I don't have any specific job in mind. I want to hire you to do the job that you're best at. What would you say to me that I could successfully hire you to do that you'd be good at for me, for whatever purpose?
Well, I work in the library right now, so I'm really good at putting books in order so people can find them. So
Okay.
I'm
So
really reliable at doing that. So you could hire me for that.
how long did it take you to get good at that?
Um, how long did it take me to be good at that? I mean, it's always been something I'm good at. You just look at the number or the name on the spine of the label and alphabetize them, or put them in numerical order. Like if they're nonfiction books, there's a number on the label. You just put them in order. It seems pretty simple to me. And
Okay.
so I don't know.
Do you like that work?
I guess practice makes me more efficient at it. I'm more efficient now than I would have been starting out, but it's always been a relatively easy skill and doesn't require a lot of thinking power.
Do you like it?
Do I like doing
Do you like
it?
the work? Yeah.
It's okay. I mean, I don't wake up in the morning saying, "Oh, I love to do this. This is what I've been called to do." I don't get anything like that. But I like the result that I get. I guess I like the result that I get from the work.
It's predictable.
So I like it in that sense.
What do you value more, predictability or novelty?
What do I value more? Probably predictability.
Okay. So let's talk about social perceptions. How clearly do you feel as though you can tell how other people are perceiving you?
How easily I can tell?
Yeah, like do you have a clear sense of how someone else is perceiving you? Or also, do you have a clear sense of how somebody else's behavior will be perceived by people in general? Like, ooh, you shouldn't have done that. That's not gonna play well. Can you do that, or do you do
Um,
that generally?
I can. I'm not always very confident in that skill. You know, sometimes I feel kind of anxious, like, well, this person, I don't know, they made some funny face, or are they yelling at me, or are they mad, or are they just preoccupied with something? So,
What happens if
you
when
know,
someone's mad at you? What happens?
if someone's mad at me,
Yeah.
what
Like
happens?
what goes through your head?
Like, what kind of like, why are you mad at me? I didn't do anything wrong. I'm just, you know, doing the best I can. You're being unreasonable.
Does it bother you when people are mad at you?
Yes.
Okay. Um, I mean, I'm honing down a pretty good sense of what you are here.
Okay.
I'm thinking you're probably an ISFJ.
Okay.
But I'm not entirely sure. Some of your answers have been odd. Like, I'm pretty sure you're an introvert. Do you think you're an introvert?
Okay. Probably.
Okay. Um, the TEFE issue is a bit of a giving some kind of interesting answers. Like in the boat question, when I asked you what you do, you asked a good TE question. You need to know what kind of boat. A lot of people don't ask that right away, even though it's the most obvious thing to me to ask is what kind of boat. And typically, I would associate that answer um, with higher TE. But then when I talked to you about the door hinge thing, you gave a very textbook ISFJ response. I would panic.
Yeah. I'm not a handy person at all. You know, it's just, I'd rather have somebody do it for me if I could.
Sure.
But I like to be more handy, but it's just, I don't have the time and patience, you know. It's better to just get somebody else to do it and get it done right away and not to think about it anymore.
Mm-hmm. Now, one thing though that runs afoul of that in my mind is there's a lot of things about you that are contraindicative of ISFJ as well. Like,
Okay.
now the TE thing would be consistent with it. The TE pole. It sounds kind of like TE polar, but then the fact that you thought, well, what kind of boat would suggest, I guess, somewhat that some sort of solvency angle to it. You also there's something about you that seems FI to me rather than FE.
All right.
So let me ask you this question: which of these following statements do you identify with more clearly?
Okay.
Question number one is, statement number one is, uh, I'm not so worried about how I'm going to react to the thing. I'm worried about how those other people are going to react. Because I'm cool and I can go with the flow. I'll go with anything. Those people, they might be fussy about it, and then we're going to have a problem. Or statement number two: those people can deal with their own emotions. I'm worried about how I'm going to feel about this because that's what's most important to me.
Oh God. I mean, how I'm gonna feel.
So that's more important.
Maybe the second one's a little more important than the first, but it's like, I mean, I consider the first two because, yeah, of course I consider how other people are going to feel. Other people are going to feel about it. It's
Okay, so let's say somebody offers you an opportunity, and it involves moving, um, not super far away, but further away than you are currently from your family, and it offers you the opportunity uh, to do your normal job that you're doing now, but your second part of your job will now be to write poems. Now, talk me through your decision making process as to whether you want to go take this opportunity or not.
okay. So Okay, so I kind of need the part repeated again.
Okay, so basically,
I got the second part. I got that you're moving farther away or something, and you're writing poems.
so what I want to know is, you've been given this job offer, and you need to respond by Tuesday. Yes, I'm going to take the job. I'm
Okay.
going to move over there. I'm going to do this job of being a librarian / poet. Or you're going to tell them no. I want you to walk through your thought process of how you make that decision, and what you consider in what you weigh, and whether or not you decide to go.
Okay. Well, I would weigh the number of work hours it is. Is it going to be more hours or less hours than I work now? How much free time am I going to have? Because I don't want to be married to my job. I want to have a life outside of that. I'd weigh things like money. Is it gonna pay more money than I make now? I'd look at
What about the poetry
city.
work?
The poetry work. Yeah. Well, I'm not creative, especially when it comes to poetry. I know that I would suck big time at poetry. So that would be something to weigh. Could I pull off writing poems? Could I pull that off? And so I think the other part of the work would have to be quite a bit better than it is now to consider it, because I don't want to take on a job that I don't feel like I can pull off very well.
Okay. What do you think would give you more satisfaction in life? To be able to, like, let's say, to have a dog or something that you become very close to and you love a lot. You direct a lot of love to it. Or to have things in general in life start to come more into clear focus, to have everything make more logical sense, to be able to point to good argumentation to justify your positions and stuff, in general, to make a big improvement in that. So in other words, what gives you more satisfaction? Loving or being right?
Gives you being right.
Being right gives you more satisfaction?
Yeah.
Okay. What gives you more satisfaction, being socially graceful or being right?
Being right.
Okay.
Although I see the importance of being socially graceful, but I'd rather be complimented on my intelligence and knowledge than how graceful I am.
Okay. What are you more willing to accept? What are you more willing to accept from another person? A bunch of ideas that you might embrace or not embrace, or a singular course that's the best course to tell you should parse away those other things you're thinking and do this one thing? Or do you want somebody to present you with more ideas? Parse down your existing ideas to a better course, or give you more ideas from you so you can decide what to do?
Probably more ideas.
Okay.
Although I do see some appeal in the other option too, because sometimes too many ideas can be overwhelming. Like if I'm not sure how good those ideas are actually going to be in practice, sometimes it is good to have a clearer course, or like how am I going to implement those ideas? How am I going to make it happen?
Okay. Let me see. So, what do you think? If, let's say, somebody comes up to you and you're in a group of people, and four of the people want to go see movie A.
Mm-hmm.
Two of the people want to go see movie B.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one of the two people who wants to see movie B says, "Look, guys, I am desperate to see this movie. I really, 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 really want to see movie B. I've been wanting to see it for a long time. None of you guys cares as much as I do. So even though there's four of you who want to see movie A, we should all go see movie B, because I care more than anybody else about this decision."
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that argument?
Well, I mean, the other people could care just as much, and they're not being as vocally expressive of it, and it seems more fair to do what the majority of people, what more people want to do. Now, it may happen that somebody else in the group changes their mind and says, you know what, I'll go see movie B. That's fine, because then you've got more people wanting to see B. So then you go see B, and I'd be like, well, why don't we just go see both movies? That would be
Okay. Um, when somebody presents an argument in general, it sounds like from that answer that you're more likely to analyze how that answer plays in terms of universal fairness or general fairness than you are to put yourself in the other person's shoes. Do you know what I mean when I say to decide on something by putting yourself in another person's shoes? What I mean is that, like, for example, before I say something that might be interpreted mean, I think, well, how would I feel if somebody said that to me? That's putting yourself in the other person's shoes. What do you think you do more of? Do you say, well, if none of us were involved and we looked at this would not be fair, and therefore we shouldn't affirm it? Or do you look more at, well, I'm putting myself in their shoes, I can see how they would feel, so we have to take what they say seriously? Which is more resonant to you?
now I'd probably go with the second one for that.
Okay. And but in the example you gave, you didn't do that, right? Is it because they're not really a person in front of you? It's just a hypothetical. You think if they were really a person in front of you, you might put yourself in their shoes?
Maybe. I don't know. I guess in that other example, I think what swayed me was sort of like, well, you have this many people wanting this, and this many people wanting that, and like, how do you know this person wanting to see B? Well, I'm so desperate. You don't even know. You don't even know, and maybe and
okay. So put yourself in their shoes there like this.
Good argument.
Hold on. Put yourself in their shoes like this. But think about it. If I were the one saying this, I would be putting myself at risk here, putting myself out, saying I'm going to expend some sort of capital in some sense to get everyone to go along with me. I would really feel bad if everybody still gave me pushback. Maybe I should just go along with this person. Do you think that at all?
Yeah.
Okay. What can you tell me about my feelings? Do you believe you have any impression about my relationship with my feelings or anything like that?
My relationship with my feelings?
No, what can you tell me about my feelings?
About your feelings?
Not necessarily in the moment. Maybe you've seen, if you've seen even one video of me, or just based on what you've gleaned from talking to me during the course of this conversation.
Well, you seem kind of inquisitive, like you really want to get to know me better. You're analyzing things. I guess you seem kind of playful, maybe, kind of energetic.
Okay, do you know how close?
I guess honestly, I didn't think about it too much.
Sure. All right.
I didn't, because I was focused more on answering the questions and getting typed. That was kind of where my focus was now. So
do you think you're a good friend to your friends?
Am I good? Yes.
Okay. What makes you think that, or how did you come to that conclusion?
Because I listen to their problems, and I'm interested in what they have to say, and I enjoy spending time with them, and I'm reliable, so I'll be the person that will pick them up at the airport and not forget.
Okay. So when I asked an ESFP this question yesterday, she answered it, well, they're the only ones who could tell you that. And it was a little kid, right?
Oh yeah.
I asked her, are you a good friend of your friends? She said, how am I supposed to know? They know that. Now that's an FI frame. They know that because you're assuming that the answer is answered by their feelings, not your thinking, right? Everything I asked you, every answer you've given, every indication I can glean, whether it's a direct gleaning or indirect gleaning, is that you are FETI, not FITE. And additionally, that you are SINE and not NENISE. Additionally, I gleaned that you validate against extroverted sensing primarily on the external. But we could explore that a little bit more. What do you think validates you more on the external level? Somebody who gets shit done, in other words, follows through on what they're going to say they were going to do and does it, or somebody who is extremely socially graceful in how they do everything, so that everything is maximally presented such that every person feels like they're winning. What's more important to you?
That every person feels like they're winning, or somebody who gets shit done.
No, basically, person A follows through on everything they say they're going to do. Okay. And doesn't do, and follows through on not doing shit they say they're not going to do as well. And then person B makes a lot of promises, only follows through on some of them. But when they do follow through on a promise, they make sure everybody thinks, everybody feels as though they're winning, that they're maximally presented for general everyone feeling good about it.
Which one? So which one is more important?
Like, if you have to pick between those two people, as which one is more legitimate or valid in your eyes as a person, which one do you pick?
Well, they're both. I mean, they both are. I'd probably go with the first one because I don't know. I guess it's more reliable than the second person, where it's just sometimes and sometimes not, and you're not sure what you're going to get at that moment.
Right. Okay. What about if you're picking between person A and person B? Person A is scrupulous in making sure he does everything the right way, but he doesn't get as much shit done. Person B is less scrupulous in getting shit the right way, doing shit the right way, but he gets more shit done. Which one's more valid to you?
Person B, probably.
Okay. So both those answers, you're validating externally on SE, extroverted sensing. And it's consistent with previous explorations that I did with you on this point as well. So, everything, and I can't find really any meaningful angle to type you as anything else at the moment, except for possibly ESFJ, says ISFJ. So, I mean, the thing is, with the validation on the external frame against being specifically extroverted sensing. Now, let me check against this, though. I didn't check against this, though. So,
can you explain what you mean by validation on the external frame? What is
so
that?
what that means is basically when you have success in certain ways in certain areas in your life, you feel good, like you get paid off. Like when you talk about getting complimented for being intelligent, that's getting paid off on your third function, TI. It's called your hidden agenda. So if introverted thinking is your hidden agenda, then anytime you win on an argumentational logical level, you're going to feel like, fuck yeah. Now, the external frame, though, is you're not going to see other people winning on TI like that as satisfying to you or validating to them. Just because I have good introverted thinking and I'm giving you something that's good and logical, the reason that you value that at all is if you take this away from here and use what you've heard logic-wise and incorporate it into your own stuff, and then you are more logical as a consequence, and that would be satisfying for you. But the thing is, you're not going to validate me just on the fact that I'm TI. What you're going to validate me on is follow-through, and validate other people or other external things on. So what you really want is, for example, in a partner, be it a significant other or a best friend or whatever, is somebody who always follows through on what they say they do. Now, the thing is, it's actually binary, though. So if they meet your minimum criteria for follow-through, then they're valid. If they don't meet it, then they're invalid. Once they meet it, though, that's not sufficient. It's just necessary. So, once you validated somebody on follow through, that you're saying, okay, you passed my basic test for an okay person. You mostly follow through on what you say you're going to do. Now, then, if you want to further validate them, they've got to additionally validate on your implicit frame of introverted sensing. That is to say, you're going to link to them in some way from your past experience, and they need to allow you to communicate with them using extroverted feeling. So, in other words, you have to be able to somehow understand their motivational calculus from an interested perspective, kind of, in order to operate. But the thing is, the external validation, let me not get too expansive in my answer. External validation just means for other people to pass your okayness test, they have to have a certain level of follow through, or else they're not okay. So that's what I mean by external validation. Internal validation is what you feel yourself responsible for. Because you think other people are responsible for themselves, I'm responsible for myself. When I attain something in this regard, then I validate myself. So for me, that's extroverted feeling. When people like me and praise me for being a good guy and think I'm funny and stuff like that, I feel validated. That's what I seek in life, basically.
Because here's a question. Because even so suppose I'm an ISFJ and extroverted feeling is my second function, and I feel like this function, it stresses me out so much, and I always feel like I'm not good at it. Like I value it, like I value good feelings and not getting hurt and not hurting other people, but I always have some doubts there. I mean, is that normal? Do you see that with the second function? Because that's kind of that was okay.
So it's true, you don't normally see that second function. The thing is, ISFJs are unusually worrisome in general, so it's possible. It's possible what you're saying is just part of being an ISFJ, being an SI dom. The reason SI doms tend to be worried a lot is because they're constantly utilizing their capacity to review existing resources, and thus new stuff is threatening if it's surprising. But I'm not absolutely convinced you're an ISFJ, because I agree with you. Your FE is odd. It's not what I would expect.
I mean, that's what people have said. That's what people have said too. Because I would have a few possibilities in my head of what type I could be, and ISFJ was one of the possibilities. But then I would doubt it because of the FE part of it, and.
Okay.
And then somebody said, I don't think you're an ISFJ because of the FE. The FE is not good enough. You're not confident in the FE, and you're insecure there.
Well, what do you think it would mean to be good at FE exactly? Because it sounds to me, when I'm asking you questions, as though when I ask you why you're a good friend, you say things like stuff you do. Presumably, you're thinking to yourself, if I were to want a friend to behave as a good friend to me, I would do the same things, So you kind of want those things from your friends too, probably. Same things. That suggests that you're not paying attention to what they want. You're not executing the platinum rule, you're executing the golden rule. The platinum rule says, do unto others as they would like you to do unto them. The golden rule says, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So FE is the golden rule, and FI is the platinum rule, kind of. The thing is, I don't hear that kind of putting yourself in the other person's shoes from you at all that is consistent with FI. I agree that from an extroversion standpoint, your FE is a lot more timid than, say, Kimberly's. Like Kimberly.
Who's Kimberly?
Kimberly is my wife, who is also an ISFJ. And when I'm talking to you, I was.
Okay, I remember now. She was in that thread on Facebook.
Okay.
Okay, I think I know what you're talking about.
And she's my wife, and she's an ISFJ, and you differ from her in a lot of ways. So I'm you're a tricky one in some ways, but in terms of my actual function analyses here, what I'm seeing is everything is consistent with the function stack of ISFJ. I want to know more about your like decorating kind of stuff. Tell me about your relationship with your nest. That doesn't seem very ISFJ at all. Your relationship with your nest seems non-ISFJ.
Yeah. I mean, I just find things I like, and then put them. I don't know, put them on the wall or put them on display. I don't really have one particular style or color scheme that I adhere to, and I don't know. It's just hard to describe. I mean, it's just like, well, if I like it, I buy it. If I can afford it, I can buy it. If it looks good, if it.
Okay. So, So, you imagine you've gotten a $10,000 prize from a game show to spend on a weekend of your choosing in the greater whatever city you live in area. You know, you only got 10 grand. You can't really fly out of the area. You got to kind of do something in driving distance, but you got a whole weekend. You could get a nice hotel for the weekend. You can buy like something to keep, like a fancy watch or something. You can do whatever you want with the 10 grand. You got one weekend to spend it. That's the only stipulation. You can spend it all on Friday, Saturday morning, first thing on one thing if you want, or you could plan a great weekend for yourself or whatever. How do you spend that 10 grand?
How do I spend it? Well, the thing is, I'm like looking at this question, and it's like I want to go outside of the city because I've kind of done almost everything in the city that I want to do. So I'm kind of tempted to just save more money for a better trip later on.
10 grand. If you think you have the time over the course of a weekend to fly someplace, and then you can. But it's just the stipulation is you have to spend it by the end of the weekend. So you get it Friday. Let's say you get it Friday afternoon. You have to spend it by midnight on Sunday. You have to spend it all, or else they take back whatever you didn't spend.
You have to spend it all. Okay.
Or else they take back what you didn't spend.
Well, then I'd probably take my family out to a really nice restaurant, and then maybe spend a night in a nice hotel. Maybe spend some money on entertainment. Go to the theater. And, invite my family and my close friends with, and then I'd probably still have some money left over, and I'd probably just donate it. Maybe donate some to charity, or donate some to family members, and maybe save a little bit back for myself for later. Because I'm thinking that even with the things I suggested, it's not even going to come close to $10,000, so I probably still have plenty left.
Donating to your family members. Donating to your family members is an interesting workaround to the rules. I like that.
Interesting workaround. Okay.
Yeah, because the rules say you have to spend it all by Sunday night. Well, I have spent it.
Oh, you have. So you have to spend every penny of it.
Or they take what you didn't spend back. But you said you're going to donate some to family members, which means basically you're saying, well, I've got a workaround for this. I'm going to donate to my family members. Then after the weekend's up, they're going to give me the money back, and I will have the money, and I won't have spent it.
Well, I didn't really think of it as a workaround. I meant donate it for them to keep.
Oh. I see.
Because like my sister, for example, she's got 2 kids, and she's not as financially well off because she's spending all this money on her kids. So all of a sudden, I inherited $10,000. It's
Well, you didn't inherit.
Seems like the right thing to do is to give some to her and help her out.
Okay, but but you didn't inherit it, but that's besides the point. Okay, so how's your relationship with her kids? How close are you with them?
Oh, quite close. I see them about once a week, and I help babysit and play with them.
Do you always remember when it's like,
There's a 1-year-old, and a 4-year-old.
okay, so for the 4-year-old, for example, do you always remember when it's her special occasions, like a birthday or whatever?
Well, birthday and anniversary, yes. I mean, other things. I may not remember off the top of my head unless she tells me. She says, "Well, I got a doctor's appointment I can go to," but I mean that always changes. So it's not like it's always one specific day or time.
Okay, and do you enjoy that time when you get to spend with her kids a lot?
Do I enjoy? Yes, I enjoy that time.
Okay. Um, do you? So do you? Would you like to have kids yourself at some point?
No, I don't plan on having any. I'm actually kind of old now. I'm 40 actually.
Okay.
You know, some people say we look younger than that, but I don't plan on having. I don't plan on having kids of my own. So
Why do you think?
my 2 nephews are kind of like they're kind of like my kids, sort of. I mean, not biologically, but
Was there a time when that was different, when you did plan to have kids and you anticipated you would?
well, like when I was a kid myself, or even as a teenager, I thought, yeah, I'm gonna get, I might get married. Have kids, and then and then things happened. Um, I never really found the right person to marry, for one thing, but I never really looked that hard either. I've always kind of liked, just being independent and not being obligated or tied down to anybody, including a spouse. And and this is where I don't fit the stereotype of ISFJ. I was talking about how ISFJs are caregivers and stuff, and I'm not. Yeah,
I
I
think
like.
you're.
I
I think you're an ISTJ.
like helping people. I like caring about people, but I don't like the process of caregiving.
You're an ISTJ somehow. I don't know why you keep giving me all these FE answers. But as far as I can tell, you're an ISTJ. But all my gut keeps screaming to me ISTJ. But your answers keep saying to me ISFJ. That seems it's very odd. I'm not you were stumping me more than I maybe stumping me more than I've ever been stumped before by somebody. You're confusing.
Yeah.
Normally, I would expect you to.
Okay. This is kind of an aside. Now, Dave Superpowers types me as an ISTJ. I know you don't fully buy into his system, but I'm just saying, because different people are giving me different types.
Okay, well, look, I'm telling you something more specific than your type. I'm saying your answers are consistent with ISFJ, but
All right.
your affect, your life story, the way your values and your decorations and everything are screaming ISTJ to me. So what I'm telling you is, if you're going to talk about taking a test where you're giving self-reporting answers, if that test is good, it will type you as an ISFJ, but it will probably be wrong, because for some reason the answers you're giving are not reflecting the actual manners of attention you're engaged in some fashion. What I see is somebody who's valuing going out and doing stuff, who's but in a very like localized way. The other possible chance, but see, you seem so. You're definitely TI though. Maybe. Oh, okay. But no, then you'd be. You could be an ESTP in theory.
ESTP. That's. I never considered that. I always kind of read that and like, that's the last type I am.
Okay, so you're not. I mean, look, I would never. You seem nothing like an ESP. I'm just trying to figure out the the apparent contradiction here. Look, your TI.
What about INTP? Because I've had some people suggest that for a type. It's got the same front stack functions, different order.
Impossible. Because.
Why is that impossible?
Because the TI test I gave you, when you lose track of who's grandmothers and who's whatever, TI DOMs consistently can do that better than me. They'll remind me of where I was. I'll lose track of a question and they'll remember it.
Yeah.
Because what they do by nature is they keep track of the word relationships continually going along, and as a consequence, they never lose track of that shit. And it's intuitively obvious to them. I could go, my father's sons, sisters, brothers, only uncle on his father's side, sons, sisters, mothers, husbands, brothers, fathers, who? And they'll go, grandfather. And they'll go, grandfather, of course. Like that.
Yeah.
Every time. That's a TI DOM. You're not a TI DOM. That's a clear test.
You seem to be the only one. You seem to be the only one I know that's describing TI DOM in that way. Because
I mean, the thing is, I'm the only one who's
read descriptions elsewhere, and they don't mention
correct. But see,
doing that kind of thing.
Those other descriptions are metaphors.
Putting things in logical systems.
Those other systems are metaphors. What I'm presenting you is an actual skills test of TI, in which we can definitively determine what it is. We know introverted thinking is about, everybody agrees with this, is about quote-unquote internal logic, right? But what it means functionally is that it's communicative logic, that is to say, argumentational logic. You can see the TI-TE difference in the conversation between me and Dave Superpowers. I'm talking about what makes sense. He's talking about what he's doing and what's effective, okay? TI is conditional logic. One of the great things about cognitive functions is we can reduce TI that simply down to conditional logic, because that's what it is. It's saying, instead of dealing with realities, which are gray, I'm going to deal with words, which are black and white, and I'm going to deal with them with consistency rather than tone. Now, the first thing that you said early on when I said that texting about the party was you critique the tone. My initial response is that's FE. But it occurs to me that's a very unnuanced critique of the tone. It's almost FE insecure. Because, in fact, I didn't intend to present that as bossy or something. It could be interpreted that way, but I think a more natural interpretation was that it was playful. So your misinterpretation of that in that regard would be more consistent with FE polar in a way than with FE in the front stack. And
I've had people.
Go ahead.
I've had people accuse me like I think they're being angry at me. And they're not being angry, and then they got mad at me for accusing them of being angry. It's
okay.
It's so weird.
That's FE.
I mean, that's been a problem in my life. Seriously.
Okay, so that indicates that you're FE polar, and that's ISTJ we're talking about. Now, look, you can very well critique whether or not my definitions are correct or not. If you try to critique it by saying, are these definitions correct based on, are they consistent with a lot of other definitions I see over here around or whatever, then you'll never find any definition correct because there's inconsistencies all over the place. If you check it, though, to see if it's consistent with itself and consistent with and provide some sort of empirics link and explain something concrete, and the thing about it is, if you had tested polar, so what you are is polar FE. That means you've got very bad sense of how your behavior plays to other people, and you don't get the concept of trying to manage other people's perceptions of you. That's a
I don't think I have that problem because I think I'm aware of how I'm acting will affect other people, and I worry a lot about somebody's impression of me based on how I act.
Right, but people don't judge you on how you act.
On my mind a lot.
People often don't judge you on how you act. They mostly judge you on things like tone, or
Yeah.
or body language or other. It's
But
complicated.
I kind of you know, include that in how you act. How you act kind of includes everything, includes the tone, the nonverbals.
Okay, well, let me ask you
And also
this:
what you say.
if you were going to go into a circumstance where you needed to get a document from like a government office or something, okay, and you didn't have all the necessary paperwork that you needed to, and I tasked you to go in there and schmooze them to give you the thing, what would you do?
Oh, I that would make me uncomfortable. I don't know how to schmooze people. I mean, it's just honest, Why don't you just ask them? I need the document. I need this document because.
That's Fe polar.
Okay.
That's Fe polar. You don't know how to schmooze people at all. So what my answer to that would be, well, I might play confused old man. You seem like a nice young lady. I really don't understand this. I'm playing to their perceptions, and I'm playing off their perceptions. I'm giving them a chance to feel smarter, helpful, and autonomous in their decision making. And I'm giving my pride over as a price I'm paying for that in some sense. But that's fine, So that's Fe. Being polar in something means you're so blind to it, you don't even get what it is. And so it's very plausible for you to think, of course I get what it is. It's that thing that I'm worried about the fact I don't get it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's the thing you don't get at all. So being an ISTJ, that makes sense. I'm settled onto my NI solid solution. That is my type of you. You're an ISTJ. And the thing is, what's odd about this is you're a TE tool user. Now, an answer you gave me that's inconsistent with that. You said the door handle is broken, you panic. Now, I interpret that to mean ISFJ because you were forced to use a tool function that you don't like to use, namely extroverted thinking. But I could easily enough interpret it as this as well. Your extroverted thinking is such that you're trying to make sure everything works as it's supposed to, consistently, effectively, efficiently, and when something doesn't, it upsets you. That
is it. That is it exactly. I panic every time something breaks down. I panic. I hate to troubleshoot. It could be the printer not working.
Okay, well that's
could be the door. Could be the internet's down. I mean, all that shit makes me panic.
Okay, so ISTJ consistently will not know what to do with computer problems in particular, and they'll find troubleshooting those difficult. But you'll have a craft that you are particularly skilled at, in which case you'll find troubleshooting within that craft to be easy. So your craft.
Yeah. Now that I can do if it's something I'm somewhat familiar with, and I've experienced it before, and it's within my realm of experience, I'm pretty good at it. But if it's something totally unfamiliar, I got no idea.
Right.
Or this computer is giving me this error message. I have no idea what this error message even means because it's just some jargon. Then you go try to Google it, and it just gives you even more jargon. It's like,
okay.
How do you work through that? Other than consult an expert.
You are an ISTJ, and what you said there about how if you have some experience with it is the key thing. That's an SI dom. You're saying your knowledge is your accumulated experience. You hate being asked to improvise. If I said, "Oh, come here, Laura, real quick. Can you take over this class I got to teach for me and just substitute it? Here's some ideas. Just run with it." You would freak out because I've given you no prep and I've asked you to improvise something that's brand new to you, and you'd punch me in the face when I got back.
I wouldn't punch you in the face. Not that kind of person.
And you know what? ISFJs also have the same fear of being asked to improvise. So the thing is, I feel confident you're an ISTJ. I would like to spend a little bit more time convincing you of it to make sure you feel confident, but I really do have to go because I've got another thing coming or I have to drive to later on.
Do you have time for one really quick question? Yeah. That's A slot NI. We never really talked about that.
True. Okay, so A slot NI is an odd one. You're using introverted intuition to serve your introverted sensing. Now, what that means is you're using non-experiential knowledge, that is to say, things that you know that you haven't had to learn to serve things you've had to learn. Um, and the way it plays out, and Kimberly does it all the time with me, is she will be sitting here and listening, and periodically she'll drop an NI bomb. You should do blah, 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 blah. And the reason I should do it is not from anything from her experience. She's aware of some NIFE truth. Now, for you, it would be an NITE truth. Like, occasionally, you'll have a sense that, oh, if I repositioned this like this, that would make this problem go away and that problem go away, and it's the single best way to do it. And so I'm going to do it that way. And now my space in my life is structured that much more effectively and efficiently. That's what your NI does. It says this issue is not particularist. In other words, it's not linked to the particular circumstances of now and me and in this moment, but rather it's some universal reality. Like, if I put it on its side, I'll never trip over it again, kind of thing, or nobody will. You know, it's kind of hard to describe for TE because TE is itself so particularist. NI is an unconscious tool function. That is to say, it's sub-instrumental. For you, the truth serves your experiential truth, which in turn serves your FI, your ability to spend time doing what you love and spend time loving the people and things in your life that you love. And love is something that you have, you really have a finite amount of it, because the thing about love is it's built out of time spent, and you have a finite amount of time. And so it's very important to you to spend your time on things that are important to you, whatever that might be. And when you do that successfully, when you spend time on things that are important to you, you feel paid off. That's your satisfaction in life. Does that sound a lot more accurate than ISFJ?
I think so.
I think so too. I think I finally got it. I'm glad I got it. I hate any of these things still confused. It almost never happens, but what happens fairly often is what happened here, where I'm on a track and I'm not happy with it, and then something clicks, and I go, okay, this is why this shit was misleading, and this is the answer, and now it all fits in. And once it falls into place, I almost always go, okay, now I got it, that's it. And it's pretty clear cut. So that's actually my ignoring NI taking a long time to kick in and going, my NI is when I say my gut keeps screaming she's an ISTJ, but your answers keep saying ISFJ. That's ignoring NI in me. I'm going, I'm not going to ignore this truth that keeps screaming at me, because the thing that's in front of me logically is this way or that way. And I'm going to go with the logic and not the truth. Eventually the truth and the logic align, and then it goes, boom. Okay, good. Now you got it. If you have any follow-up questions, please do email me. I do answer follow-up questions as part of this deal here, as part of the package. So if you have any questions, I will either type out answers to you, or I will make a small video and share it with you as a Google Drive link.
Okay, yeah. I don't want to keep you any longer. I do have a couple follow-up questions. I'll send them to you in an email.
All right, cool.
So,
yeah, I will definitely answer.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
My pleasure. You were an interesting challenge. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right, talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.